This video is about Newton's laws of motion. Newton's first law is that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. An equation representation of this is as follows. What this means is that if the sum of forces equals 0, then the acceleration on that object is also equal to 0, and therefore the velocity of that object is constant. This is also often called the law of inertia. Newton's second law states that an object's acceleration is inversely proportional to the object's mass and directly proportional to the sum of the forces acting on the object. An equation representation of this is that the sum of the forces is equal to the mass times the acceleration of an object. Of all of Newton's laws, this law is where most of the calculations are involved. Newton's third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and we often see this law being applied in terms of forces. So an equation representation of this is that the force that object B exerts on object A is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to the force that object A exerts on object B. And remember that forces are vectors, and vectors possess both a magnitude and a direction. Something that we see with this law is action-reaction pairs. So these two forces shown in the equation representation are action-reaction pairs because the forces that the objects are exerting on each other are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So being equal in magnitude and opposite in direction is what qualifies an action-reaction pair. Some common action-reaction pairs that you will encounter in AP Physics and you must know before taking the AP Physics exam is that friction between blocks is often an action-reaction pair. When two blocks are in contact and moving against each other, that's when we see this sort of action-reaction pair. Another example is the normal force of two objects pushing on one another. And we often see these when two objects are in contact because normal force is a contact force. And then our last example is tension of a string between blocks. So when two blocks are being connected by a string, they're both going to be pulling on each other, and those forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, which qualifies them as an action-reaction pair. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching and good luck studying.